how's your week going? I hope it's going well. So, my name's Linda, and this is Lilybugs Library. And a lot of times on Thursday, I bring you my 5-star book of the week, but I didn't have one this week. So, instead, we're just going to have a little long ramble. And if you'd like to get a cup of tea or coffee, probably a good idea, and just kind of curl up because we've got a few things to talk about. So, the first thing I want to talk about was a little trip I took yesterday. So my daughter and grandchildren took me to a bookstore, a secondhand bookstore, and it's one I hadn't been to before. It's actually a Cat Cafe Bookstore. So it's called Otis and Clementine's, and that's the cute little stickers they had. And inside, I'm going to show you a few pictures over here. And the small tortoiseshell cat is up for adoption. Her name is Brianna, and she is with the rescue Spay Day, which is also where I got Dudley. So they're a great organization. If you live in the area and you want to support them, that would be great. And the company, Otis and Clementine's, is in Tantallon. So just look them up on Google, go check them out. So she was the only one to be adopted that was there that day. And then there is also a cat that lives there, and his name is Seamus. And there's a picture of him there as well. I always get my sides mixed up. So a picture of him as well. And he's a little older. I think he's around 2 or 3. And so sweet, like he doesn't even head for the door when you open it, although I wouldn't take too many chances. So I had a wonderful time there and bought a few books. So 3 are cozies and 1 is historical fiction. So I got The Final Cat Call, which is one of the magical cat mysteries, which I've just been loving. I got one that is, I'm not sure if it's part of a series or not. I think it's part of the Witch City Mysteries, maybe. It's called Now You See It by Carol Perry and looks very autumn-like, so that'll be great for the fall. And I don't think I've read anything in this series before, but this is the Cat Cafe Mysteries. And this one's called Claws for Alarm, which I thought looked great. And then I got one historical fiction, which was by Genevieve Graham, and it's one of her older ones, and it's called Promises to Keep. So I'll read you just a little bit of this. This one interested me because it takes place in the same province that I'm in. So it says, Summer 1755, Acadia. Young, beautiful Emily Bellevaux lives an idyllic life with her family among the Acadians and the neighboring Mi'kmaq of Grand Pre, Nova Scotia. After years of peace, the settlers believe that they can remain on neutral political ground, despite the rising tensions between Britain and France. But peace can be fragile, and faith is not always enough. When the British Army lands in Grand Pre, the Redcoats demand the Acadians' allegiance and threaten to exile them if they refuse. Fortunately, Emily has made a powerful ally in the handsome Corporal Connor MacDonell, a reluctant participant in the British plan to expel the Canadians from their homeland. His sympathy for Emily gradually evolves into a profound love, a love worth taking risks for. As the last warmth of summer fades and dilapidated ships arrive to ferry the Acadians away, Connor is compelled to make a difficult decision that will alter the future forever. So it sounds really good. I'm really looking forward to reading it. So all of that is, the relationship and the people, of course, are fictional, but everything about the Acadians being expelled from Nova Scotia in the 1700s is true. And some of them went to Louisiana, and so, or maybe they came from Louisiana. I can't remember. But anyway, there's a connection there. And very interesting, so can't wait to read that one. And then with the other ones, Claws for Alarm, I'll just read you a little tiny bit here. It says, Maddie James has finally given in to her friend Katrina's pleas to open up her cat cafe to more than 10 felines. They're now up to 15 purring friends. In fact, JJ's House of Purrs is making such a splash that she's getting national attention. The East Coast Animal Rescue League is quite interested in the cafe, and so Maddie accepts a request to meet with Laverne Gardner, the executive director. Laverne shows up at the cafe and asks Maddie if they can partner on a fundraiser to support the local rescue efforts, and she offers up her celebrity endorser and her celebrity cat to sweeten the deal. Maddie, excited by the prospect, volunteers her sister Val to help plan the event, but when Val shows up for a site visit at the venue, she finds Laverne strangled with a fancy cat leash, a piece of swag they were intending to use for the fundraiser, leaving Maddie with a lot of questions to answer. That sounds excellent. And then Now You See It. It says, just married, Lee and her husband, Detective Sergeant Pete Mondello, are settling into their new home when Lee is dubbed Witch TV's new historical documentary chief executive. Her first subject is the brand new Salem International Museum, slated to be a location for traveling blockbuster exhibits, starting with seafaring New England. From research to collecting artifacts of Salem's long-ago days as a shipping capital, the project is a challenge. But when the driver of a truckload of antiquities turns up dead under a pile of fall leaves, it's not quite the kind of challenge Lee expected. So that also sounds good. In this one, the Magical Cats, it says, with her sort of boyfriend Marcus calling it quits and her ex-boyfriend Andrew showing up out of the blue, Kathleen has more than enough drama to deal with. And that's before a local theater festival relocates to Mayville Heights. Now the town is buzzing with theater folk, and many of them have their own private drama with the director Hugh Davis. When Davis is found shot to death by the marina, he leaves behind evidence of blackmail and fraud, as well as an ensemble of suspects. So that one sounds excellent too. And I've really got to catch up on the Magical Cat mysteries because I feel like I'm way behind in it. So, little tiny book haul there yesterday after going to that Cat Cafe. And the other thing I wanted to talk to you about is wonderful husband and I have been experimenting with food boxes. So I know some may only be in Canada, some may be in the US as well. I don't know how far reaching they are. But around here, there is HelloFresh, there is Good Food, and there is Chef's Plate. Could be others, but those are the three I know. There's also Factor, but Factor is a little different. The three that I mentioned all give you ingredients and you do the cooking. Whereas Factor gives you a fully done meal, but it's frozen and you just have to heat it up. So basically I'm trying to find things that are easy to do and taste good and are healthy. Especially for the days when I have flare-ups with my fibromyalgia and can't really cook. Or at least not enough. Sorry, excuse me. So the first one, Chef's Plate. Actually, I'll do them in order because Chef's Plate's the last one I got. So the first one that we started out with was HelloFresh. And with HelloFresh, we kept it for a while. I've got probably 3 weeks worth of things that we did. So they come in a nice package and you get a recipe card with each one. So that one's for honey garlic chicken wraps. And they give you all the things that you need. So they give you the protein, they give you flour and salt and tortillas and potatoes and, whatever you might need. So that one was quite good, actually. But when you look at the ingredients, it tells you, kind of from start to finish. And you have to, cut and roast the potatoes and get the oven started and toss the potatoes with the seasonings. And then you move on to your chicken and you get that done. And then you start cooking the chicken and then you warm up the tortillas and then you make the sauce. And, it's not quite the way I cook, I guess, or maybe I'm just used to doing it myself. But I found sometimes their instructions weren't as clear as I might have liked. Or I think I felt anxiety because I felt like I felt like I was on MasterChef, maybe. I don't know. I felt like I had to get all of this done. And so I think it's a little different than just making it out of your own mind. I'm not sure. But the food was good, and they did have lots to choose from. We had a wonderful husband really liked this one. This is a cheese tortellini with sun-dried tomatoes. And there was some that, like you can pick from so many. There's a Middle Eastern style beef bowl that we tried. This one was a little different. I don't know if we'd ever eat it again, but it was a carb smart pork and stone fruit salad with honey mustard caper sauce and goat cheese. And I did find, maybe it was the recipes we chose, but I did find they use capers a lot and spring greens a lot. So a lot of times your vegetable is like a spring green salad that's made, with one or two other ingredients. So there's certain things that they do that are certainly going to lower the cost of what you're paying, and are, easier for them. This one, for instance, was a zesty garlic chicken with couscous, salad, and tahini ranch sauce. So if you look at the salad, it's really just greens and tomatoes. Not much else in there. A little bit of chives, garlic, but it's still, to me, when I make a salad, I tend to put a lot of stuff in it. So I found that a little bit different. And so anyway, lots of things, lots of different things that you can choose for different dietary needs. So if you want it gluten-free, or you want it vegan, or you want it carb smart, or whatever you like, you can get that. So cost is, they start out giving you a fairly big discount. If you have, some kind of code, you get them a lot of times in your mail. And then if they say, I don't know, say it's a 50% discount. Well, it would be so much on the first box and then so much on the second box, and the discount keeps getting less until you've used that 50%. So that's a little different too. But I'd say all of them are probably between $12 to $20. No, probably not as high as 20, but $12 to $15 or $16 a plate, maybe a little less. I don't know. So we didn't stick around for all the discounts to be done on a lot of them either. But I found that one was a little much, especially if I was very tired. It took a lot out of me. So then we decided we'd go on and we would try Good Food. So Good Food, we tried just one day of it. So it came with two recipes. The first one was yellow Thai barbecue chicken with peanut lime grilled broccolini salad. So that one was not bad. And then if you look at the instructions on the back, I found those ones, maybe it was the way it was laid out, but I found those ones a little easier to follow than the HelloFresh ones. But I did find, and the other one we got was spicy Korean gochujang chicken, which was actually not spicy, but that's beside the point. But I found, sorry, I lost my train of thought. I found they were a little easier to follow. And, but I found them a little bougie, like a little bit higher end than the HelloFresh ones. And not necessarily in a good way. Like it was, they were good. The recipes were good, but it was just a little different. Like there wasn't a lot of, didn't feel quite as home style in some ways, but could be, I'm sure it is, what I chose as well. So if I had chosen something different, maybe I would have had a different opinion of that. But the food was still good. Now with the gochujang, like I said, they tell you to put like half of the sauce, half of the gochujang into the sauce that you're making. Now we are not spice people at all, so I was quite happy just putting half in there because I was afraid it was going to like burn my tongue off. We didn't find it hot, so I would think that you could even increase that amount if you wanted to. So anyway, either way, they were good. And the one thing they have that I really liked is they also have what they call Camp Good Food, which is specifically meals for children that they can help prepare. So I thought that was a cool idea. And then the last one we only got one from them as well. So it did come with 3 days worth. So we've got chicken pasta primavera with tomatoes and zucchini. We have honey garlic chicken bites with rice and roasted broccolini. And we have creamy mushroom pasta with white cheddar and spinach. So these ones, if you look on the back, look quite similar to what I got with HelloFresh as far as how to do things. Still quite easy to follow, though. I didn't really have a hard time with it. Now, our big problem with this one, and we might have lasted longer, because this one is actually Canadian. I'm not sure if the other two are or not. But I live in one province, and this came from another province and was shipped here, which I know it came in a freezer truck, but I didn't care for that because it was very late getting here. They didn't have very good tracking on it. The tracking kept saying out for delivery or, something to that effect. But it never updated. And 8 o'clock at night came and went, and we're going to have it for supper. But of course we couldn't do that because it never showed up. So finally we went to bed, and when we got up the next morning, it still didn't say that it was delivered. And so during the day, our super brought it up to me and mentioned that it had been down there a while. So that didn't impress me much. And then the box that it came in was kind of punched in at the bottom. And when I opened it, although everything was still on ice, it didn't feel super cold. It was okay. But if it had stayed out there much longer, I'm not so sure it would have still been good. But all that being said, I ended up canceling it as much for that reason as anything else. But the recipes, though, are good. We've had, what have we had so far? We had the honey garlic chicken bites, and we had the chicken pasta primavera. Now, the chicken pasta primavera, I cheated on. I bought a chicken that was already cooked and used that to throw into it because I just didn't have the energy to do too much. But both recipes were good. Tonight we are actually going to do the creamy mushroom pasta, and I'm sure that'll be good as well. But now one thing I did notice with this one, the honey garlic chicken bites, they did not give me rice. They told me it was to go on a bed of rice, but they didn't supply the rice, which with anything I did with HelloFresh or Good Food, they gave you everything, including the rice or the pasta or the couscous or the potatoes, whatever you need it for a starch. And these guys didn't. So, but they are a cheaper box too. So you kind of get some, you give some, I guess. So that was my foray into cooking boxes, food boxes. We're done with it now. I found out all of them take more energy than I would take just, having a casserole put aside in the freezer or having a few ready-made meals to go when I'm not feeling well. So they're just a little too time-consuming and take too many spoons. So that's it for those. But it was a fun adventure. So that's what's been going on with me. Like I said, no 5-star reads, but I'll be back tomorrow with Friday reads to tell you what I have been reading. And I hope that you're having a great day. And if you've stuck with me this long and listened to me ramble on, that's great. So I always forget to tell you, but if you could like and subscribe and hit the notification button so you don't miss anything. All right, talk to you soon, friends. Bye-bye.